Guys, this is a nice simple tutorial on lens flare in Photoshop. Now the reason I'm making this video is one of the Facebook groups I'm on had a chat up last night and a couple of people were asking how to do lens flare. So Jennifer and Christine, I believe. Hope this finds you, and I hope it is of some use to you. Let me start by saying, by no way am I an expert in Photoshop, far from it in fact. I don't believe in Photoshop if you ever are an expert. It's one of the beauties of it, there is always something to learn. So I'm not saying this is the only way, and I'm not saying it's the best way. What I am saying is that it's the easiest way I've found over the years to create a lens flare. So if I can share that with you, and it proves to be of some kind of use, then I'm quite happy. So let's get started with it. So in Photoshop, when working in Photoshop, every single video or tutorial you'll watch will tell you to create a duplicate layer and work on that duplicate. Now the reason we do that is we want to work in a non-destructive manner. We don't ever want to touch or mend this digital image. You'll see here the background copy of this image here. We want to be able to revert back to that any time throughout the stage of working on it. So we work in a non-destructive manner. So to do that we go up to layer and we go duplicate layer. And for this example we're going to name it flair because that is what we're going to be creating today. Excuse me. So you'll see now we've got two boxes in the bottom here. Background, which is original, and then the one we've named flair, which is a duplicate. And now that's one we're going to be working on. So anything we do is going to be on this layer here, and this bottom layer will be left intact as it is. So at the end of this tutorial we can cycle through and we can see the original before, and then the flair will be the after. So when I'm doing a flare, I always start by adding a bit of glow to the face, or to the image in fact. And again there's a mountain of different ways to do that, but the easiest way I've found is to add some Gaussian blur. And to do that we go up to filter, blur and Gaussian blur. Now you'll see this little box appear here with the slider. You can go right the way down and we can go right the way up. Okay, the further up we go, the more blurry it will be, and the lower down we are, the less blurry it will be. So to create the glow, we want to be blurring the facial features, but we don't want to blur it to an extent where we can't make these features out. So we'll get rid of the detail basically. So we'll just jump up a little bit here. Yeah, about 15 will do. So bear in mind the image you're working on, this number in the box will be totally different. For this image around 15 is about spot on. Okay, so we can see that the image is getting blurry, but we can still make out the features. Now that's exactly what we want. So we're going to hit OK. And then we're going to change our mode to overlay. Now you'll see straight away that the highlights in this face are really jumping out in us. So let's just excuse me again, quickly cycle back and forth. So here's the original, and here we go and we add the glow, add this Gaussian blur to the photograph. Now the reason I do that is that if you imagine me just before we add this glow in, adding a huge lens flare coming in from left hand side coming across this face, it'd look pretty unnatural. So by adding this glow to the face, you know, just gives it a bit more reality to the image that this lens flares come through naturally on the photograph. Okay, now we've done that, we want to create a blank layer. Okay, to do that, bottom right hand side here you'll see a small box second in from the right, create new layer. So there you go, we've got 1, 2 and 3. We've got original untouched version, we've got our modified version, and we've got a new layer. Now what a layer is, if you imagine putting a piece of plastic, clear plastic over that photograph, that's what we've done. Now we're working on that bit of plastic, so anything we do now on this layer is going to be on this bit of plastic rather than on the image itself. Now one of the benefits to do that is that when it's on the layer you can do far more adjustments to it. We can move it, we can resize it, and we can also add a layer mask to it. And by doing that we can then add in bits or take away bits that we don't necessarily like, and if we've taken away too much we can add it back in by using the layer mask. Perhaps a bit more advanced than what we need to get to in a minute, but nonetheless that's why we do it. Now once we've got our blank layer, our blank bit of plastic here, we're going to go up to edit and we're going to go fill, and we're going to leave it as black. So if your selection isn't or is anything except black at the minute, switch it to black for me. Leave mode as normal and leave that at 100% and don't bother ticking this little box. Hit OK and we've got a completely black image now. That's not what we need in a minute. So we'll change the mode again to screen. Now by doing that it takes away the darks and it will just make it see-through almost. So let's change that to screen. If we cycle back and forth you won't notice a difference whatsoever. So that's before and after. So we've now got this nice bit of plastic we can work on. We can put our flair on it and we can adjust it, we can move it, we can resize it, we can transform it, we can do whatever we like with it. So to add the flair in, we go filter, to render, to lens flare. Now lens flare, you'll have 4 options to play with here. You can cycle through them yourself and pick whatever one you feel suits the image best between them. And I think I'll go for the 105 prime. Quite a natural looking one that will come through, and I think it'll really add to this image that we've got or that we're working on at the minute. Now you can cycle back and forth, move it to where you like in the image. So if you want it to come in from the right hand side, you could, and likewise if you want to come in from the left hand side, you could as well. If you want it to be slightly crazy, you could have it coming from the bottom, centre, whatever you like. But for this image we're going to stick to coming from the left hand side, coming through this face. So hopefully it'll come through round about here where you can see the highlights really jumping out. On the slider for the brightness here, you can adjust it any way you like. So I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller so it's all in the frame. About there. Brightness wise, I think we're going to leave it around 100%. We can adjust that afterwards by using the occupancy down here on the right hand side where my mouse is now. We'll leave it 100% for now. I'm going to hit OK and you'll see it appearing on the image here. Now it's not in the perfect position, so we're going to go up to edit and we're going to go up to, or down rather, to free transform. Okay, and you'll see the lines coming around here. And what we're going to do is we're going to move it to where the image to where we think it should be, and we're going to just drag this box out a little bit so it comes right across his face. And we're going to move this control point right to the centre. So the reason I'm doing that is that I've got my flare where I want it on the top left hand side. These little lights coming down here are maybe not the best positioning. So if I move in our command point, we can now rotate around that so that it's staying where the main part is staying where we've got it. We'll just bring it down to about there and we'll hit enter. So you can see the lens flare coming from the left hand side, coming across his face right the way through the image. Now like I said before, we can dull that down a little bit by bringing the opacity down. Just what we feel is about right. Right the way down, right the way up. I'm going to leave it at 100% for the time being. I think it looks a bit right. Now a wee tip for you before when I mentioned why we work on layers is we can add a layer mask to this and we can take bits out that we don't quite like. So for an example would be that if we thought there was too much light on his face here, these extra little lights, we can go to layer mask. You'll see it appearing here, new layer mask, black and white, and we'll go to our paintbrush. Now anytime we paint on this now with black, it will remove, so it's masking out, and if I switch that to white, it's adding back in. So like I said, if we didn't like that in the photograph, we can get our black paintbrush and we can paint it out. Didn't like any of it, we could paint it out, whatever we want to do. But I'm just showing you that for an example, but I'm going to leave that in because I don't think it does anything too drastic by being there. I quite like it actually. I'm just going to quickly create this into a group so we can cycle back and forth and show you. So this is the original image that we started with, and then this is the image where we've added glow to the face by adding the Gaussian blur in, and we've added our lens flare coming in from the left hand side right the way through the face. So that's about it for adding a simple lens flare. Like I said, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but this is one of the more simple ways that I've found it, and I really hope it helps the guys that I was speaking to last night anyway, just to pick up the lens flare in Photoshop. Thanks for your time, guys. Cheers.